Senator Ron Johnson is my guest. He, of course, represents the great state of Wisconsin. Good morning, Senator Johnson. Welcome back.
Morning, Hugh. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. I want to begin with a question that's not about Wisconsin. I'm going to come back to that. You got a couple of great colleagues in Tom Tillis and Ted Budd from North Carolina. That state and Tennessee and Georgia and Virginia and maybe even South Carolina have been impacted by Hurricane Helene. What do they say about voting up in the mountains in the city of Asheville? Are they worried about it?
I'm concerned about it. I haven't really had a conversation with them because I know they've got their hands full. I'm concerned about FEMA's reaction to this. What's true, what's not true. We're going to have to do an awful lot of oversight in terms of what the response was. I know there is misinformation out there. It's going to be difficult to sift through this, but I think it's obvious that the federal government's responses has been inadequate. And I think the real outrage here is how many millions, if not billions of dollars, has the Biden administration siphoned out of FEMA into handling their man-made border crisis, funneling that money into taking care of the illegal immigration population that, quite honestly, also threatens the integrity of our election.
It was rather stunning to hear Secretary Mayorkas say there's no more money. I could not actually believe that. And has that been recounted or recanted?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And no, we just passed a continuing resolution. I voted no, but we just passed that. That should be plussing up those accounts. Again, it's so difficult, Hugh, to get the truth out of the administration. Congress has allowed its oversight and investigatory authorities to atrophy. And as a result, administration officials, we write letters, we subpoena them, and they ignore the letters and the subpoenas. So that has got to be a focus. If we run the table, if we get or just get the majority in the Senate, trust me, I'd be chairman of the permanent subcommittee investigation. I'll be issuing subpoenas. I will be investigating these things.
Now, Senator Johnson, you are from Wisconsin. It is, of course, one of the battleground states. I want to know how you think it's going to do in the presidential campaign. I talked to Derek Van Orden yesterday. He's pretty confident, but it's a last-minute deal, and people are surprised by Eric Hovde, but I think he's using the Ron Johnson model, which is work, and go everywhere. What do you think of Eric's campaign?
Well, that's exactly what you have to do. It's after the Walker loss in 2018, Reince Priebus and I did a post-mortem on that. And I think the most important part of that was we allowed 30 Assembly Democrats to run unopposed in 2018. So we started supporting Assembly Republican candidates. Now we pretty well have a candidate in every one of those seats. What I've just been doing since we're in recess here, I've been barnstorming all over the state doing fundraisers for Assembly candidates. I called it trickle-up elections. If you have Republicans on every line of the ballot, they're going to get out there, they're going to campaign. They've got their campaign workers. They've got their second, fifth, and 15th cousin coming out voting for them. Sometimes pretty low propensity voters, but if you're going to vote for one Republican lower on the ballot, you're going to vote for other Republicans higher up on the ballot. And yeah, Eric's doing what you have to do in Wisconsin. Democrats have it so much easier. They can mine most of their votes in Milwaukee and Madison. We have to go all over the state, all the small towns, and get our votes from those small towns. But at the same time, by showing up, that just shows people how much we care about them. This has been a sea change in politics. Now it's Republicans that are viewed as representing the working men and women of this country. And that I think, will be the change. And quite honestly, President Trump has been key to that really title shift in our politics today.
Now, you've run 3 times and you've won 3 times. Does it help to be in a presidential year? Or does it hurt in Wisconsin to be in a presidential year for a Republican running for Senate?
I would prefer not running a presidential year because I think you probably have a less turnout from the Democrats. Although, I was non-presidential year last time in a narrow race against Mandela Barnes. What I keep saying to you, that race and this year too, I don't know how bad it needs to get, but in the sane world with an unbiased media, these elections wouldn't even be close. We'd be wiping Democrats off the field here. But we have an insane world, and we have a highly biased media. And that's really what we're running against. We're really not running against Democrat opponents. We are running against the media. We are running against our education system. The radical left has infiltrated every institution of this country, and that's what conservatives, that's what Republicans are running against.
You know, Senator, I had President Trump on yesterday for 27 minutes and probably 24 questions. Very interesting stuff, very provocative stuff, especially about supporting Israel if they strike Iran. And a left winger went out and said he was doing eugenics, which is nonsense. He wasn't doing eugenics at all. And that lie took off among the left. It's kind of crazy. And I think it's infiltrated one of the major news organizations. It's just a lie. It's incredible how this works.
So, Hugh, let me tell you a story about President Trump because he has been lied about. You know, I saw him at the Dodge County rally on Sunday. My cousin is suffering from lung cancer, and I mentioned that to President Trump. He signs a hat, two dentists fight. Donald Trump is so incredibly concerned about my cousin, asking me everything about him. This is a man who genuinely cares about people. He didn't have to sign that hat. He didn't have to take out that time. He didn't have to show that level of concern. But that's who Donald Trump truly is. That's why I say if you spend time with Donald Trump, you cannot not like him. And it's so galling to see how he is portrayed by the Democrats, by the left-wing media. It's just so unbelievably false. But let's face it, their entire campaign is just based on lies and falsehoods. The Federalists ran after the debate 25 lies that Kamala Harris told. But again, when you know you're never going to be challenged by the mainstream media, you're not going to be fact-checked. You can prepare for a debate by showing or practicing how to smoothly spew lie after lie after lie. That's what the Democrats have. They got lies. We have the truth.
Well, Scott Pelley last night complained that former President Trump did not do 60 Minutes. I wouldn't have gone near 60 Minutes in 100 years, given the edits that they do. And Bill Whitaker asked some pointed questions of Kamala Harris. He propped her up a couple of times. But let me play for you the number one cut that I played this morning. Cut number 7, Kamala Harris and Bill Whitaker talking about, Senator, in my business, we call that billboarding a question. When you put the question up, right, you say groceries, and then you say, here's a fact, prices up 25%. Here's another fact, people are blaming you and the president. What do you say? And she talks about unemployment. What do you make of that interview generally and of that exchange specifically?
Well, I haven't been able to listen to that interview, so I appreciate hearing that question. But let's face it, she has a plan. Her plan was price controls, which would be a disaster. I mean, it was such an awful suggestion that even the mainstream media pretty well panned that. So no, they don't have a clue how to run the economy. They know how to destroy a country, open the borders,
So she didn't answer the question, but it's a word. The UN Charter participate. What does that even mean, Senator, to you?
Yeah, that is a classic word salad. No, that is absurd. The problem is every day that goes by with that war continuing to rage, the settlement's going to get worse and worse and worse because more Ukrainians die, more Russian conscripts die. I take no joy in that. More Ukraine gets destroyed. This has been a disaster for Ukraine. I love the Ukrainian people, their desire for freedom. What the Biden administration has allowed to happen. Again, Putin never would have invaded under Trump. Don, that America has spent billions adding fuel to the flames of that fire. I think it's just a tragedy. It's got to end. The war's got. I'm not going to like the settlement, but every day that goes by, it's going to get looking worse.
Last question has to do with Iran. Yesterday, I asked former President Trump, what about Israel and Iran? And he said they have a right to retaliate. And he's right. Do you think Joe Biden will assist the Israelis in doing so against Iran, or will he hold them back like he has so often over the course of the long last year?
No, he's going to hold them back. What we should do, the U.S. should arm Israel with the bunker-busting bombs and the refueling tankers to allow them to deliver those things in a highly visible method or way so that Iran is on notice that Israel will take them out, because certainly under Biden, the U.S. will never act. So, no, I mean, Biden will restrain Israel as it's restrained Israel in their fight against Hamas and Hezbollah.
I agree. Senator Johnson, good to talk to you. Back to the campaign trail. I appreciate you taking time to check in and give us a sense of where Wisconsin is and the country. I always appreciate talking to Ron Johnson. If we get the Senate back, those will be some mighty important investigatory hearings. There's a lot to ask about the failures of Biden-Harris.